All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. Some interesting football news today. Um, Panthers get Christian McCaffrey back for tomorrow's game. Stafford was he was activated off the COVID list, which is surprising considering the fact you have to quarantine for like 2 weeks. So how some of these guys are getting better from it right away, I really don't know. Um, but nevertheless, you know, good to hear that guys are getting over it faster than some do, which is good. Um, Ravens, and I knew this was going to happen when they signed Des Bryant, that he was going to be activated at some point. Well, it's here after 3 years. Des Bryant's back on the football field. Um, if I'm a Ravens fan, no, I don't expect the same Des Bryant you got in Dallas. I just don't expect it right away. It's going to take him a while to acclimate. Um, but again, you never know. He could turn it on like he never left. You don't know, and if he does, that he's going to be dangerous. Um, but there was another topic that I saw today, and it involves the New York Jets, and not one that involves Sam Darnold or the ongoing circus that is the New York Jets with, Gase is the solution, Darnold is the quarterback of the future, whether or not they, misused Le'Veon Bell. This has to do more with locker room issues. And not bad ones as far as players hating other players or whatever. It's privacy within a sports locker room. Apparently, back in August of 19, it was reported that the Jets were playing the Falcons, in Atlanta, and there was a helmet that stood on an equipment case, and under it was a camera, and the Jets were being recorded. Apparently, they went to the NFLPA about it. It's been investigated, and then, from what I read, also, they found smoke detectors that had cameras hidden within them inside Jets practice locker rooms. Um, why they're there, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not the guy who put them there. Nor would I really want to see what goes on in a football locker room. Um, for all those of you that have played sports, whether it be high school on the college level, you, you don't want your stuff aired out there. Antonio Brown there with the live Instagram video with Tomlin, and you got guys walking around with nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see a 300-pound linebacker walking around. You know, Listen, I'm not the most in shape guy, but I wouldn't even want somebody at Planet Fitness seeing me walk around with no shirt on. Okay, um, it's just really an invasion of privacy. The NFL's got to get down to who put them there. And it's surprising that it came out now and not then, but it's out there, and it's just again, it's a matter of who put them there. Is the NFL going to even investigate it? I think you have to, obviously. And whoever did it, you really are one sick son of a bitch. You just really are. If you really get your rocks off on watching male athletes in the locker room, um, yeah, some wrong with you. Or maybe did another team put them there? Listen, I don't know. Again, I'm not the guy to go to. You should ask the guy who wrote the article. You should ask the Jets beat reporter. You should go ask the Jets what they think. Okay, don't ask me. I'm just a guy telling you this is what I read. If you didn't read it, go read it. Um, you'll know more just like I do. Um, Obviously other things happened today. They finally, the election's over with. Thank friggin' God for that. Um, you know, Listen, people are out there, and like I said, I'm not a political guy. I try to keep politics out of anything in which I speak. But people want to go out there and rejoice, and you're happy, friggin' let them. You're not happy with the end result. Listen, it is what it is. There's no need to go out there and cause chaos and be a bitter person about it. You know, Listen. Bottom line is this. You know, in the eyes of the people, the voters, and everyone who votes, the better man won. That's it. Um, but I want to keep it more on a sports level. Uh, so tonight you got Clemson, Notre Dame, and I was talking about it at work, and I see, this is a big college game of the night, and this kid at work goes, no, because Trevor Lawrence isn't playing. Their backup, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, because I'll butcher the hell out of it. Um, you know, it's still going to be a good game. I don't expect a blowout. I think Clemson's going to stay competitive. And you can say, well, Jim Clemson barely beat Boston College. Listen, and I get that, but you know, Clemson's not going to blow everybody out. Okay, they're just not. And even if Trevor Lawrence played tonight, in a hypothetical scenario, if Trevor Lawrence played tonight, didn't contract COVID, do you really think Clemson's blowing out Notre Dame anyway? No, they're not. That's going to be a close game from kickoff till the clock goes off in the fourth quarter. Okay, that's just, if you're a fan of Clemson, you know it. I'm a fan of Notre Dame. I know it. The two are going to play their balls off out there. You had some other good games today. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch any of them because I got to work, bills to pay, child support, this, that, and the third. Um, but there was, I didn't get a chance to see this video yet, and I really don't know if I want to because I heard it's rather gruesome. Wide receiver on Georgia catches a ball in the end zone, and his leg just goes one way, his body goes the other, and we've seen way too many of those, and it's a freak occurrence, but it's just, I really don't know if I want to see it, but, you always feel bad when somebody gets hurt, especially that bad, especially in college, because an injury like that could ruin you going into the pros, and, and it's just horrible, especially everything you worked for, all the time you put into it and all that, so, I get that, and hopefully, I forget the guy's name, but, hopefully fast recovery, and that's that. Stafford getting off the COVID list, again, like I say, that's good, but I still don't know if I let him play. And I say the same thing, Vance McDonald for the Steelers, right, was out all week with an illness, but yet he was cleared to travel with the team. It's rather risky, and then now a Steelers staff member has COVID, and I saw on Twitter, listen, I don't like our offensive coordinator any more than any other Steelers fan does. But I've seen people go, I hope it's Randy Fichtner. Listen, this, like in the video this morning where I was talking about the racial tension and messaging an athlete getting getting racist when and whatnot. There's no need for that either. I hope this guy gets COVID. But come on, there's no need for it. We're all adults. Just, I get it. Nobody likes Randy Fichtner. I get it. But like you, like me, we all have families at home. We all got to provide for them. And, there's just no need for it. And then, as I was telling people at work, that I do these sports talk videos, and, I told them how I compared TJ and JJ earlier, and I got told them out of my mind that TJ is going to be the better of the two brothers. I'm not crazy for it, and I'm actually going to, either later tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to research their career numbers as they are now from when JJ was a rookie to TJ's a rookie to now, and I'm going to write them all down, and I'm going to compare them. And then I'll make a video based just on that alone, and then hopefully some of you decide to get interactive, and, and we could debate it. Steeler fans, Texans fans, we could debate that. But in the end, and I'm still going to say it, and I stand by now, TJ, when both careers are said and done, barring significant injuries, TJ's going to have the better numbers. TJ's going to be the better Watt brother out of the two. And you're going to say, well, what about the third Watt brother? He's only relevant because of the other two. And he's only relevant because he's in Subway commercials. Nobody even knew there was a third Watt brother till the Steelers played the Chargers, and then that got made a big deal. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that he's on the Steelers. He's a decent fullback when he's healthy, but he hasn't been healthy now like 3 weeks. And then speaking of that, to make room for Avery Williamson today and Jerron Elliott, we had to release Steve Wisniewski and Trey Edmonds, which kind of alleviates some of the running back depth a little bit. Wisniewski, I liked the signing at the beginning of the year, but then he couldn't stay healthy, so you actually saved $1.45 million, which is about what you got to pay Avery Williamson. So going into 2020, you have an extra, big whopping $1.45 million now. You're still going to have to scrape up a lot more to pay all these free agents. You're going to have to give Juju his pay. You're going to have money ready to do TJ's deal because, trust me, he's earned it. And I'm going to tell you now, Bud Dupree has earned his extension. And somebody asked me, do I think that they franchise tag him again? And it's going to be hard because you can only franchise one. You can only franchise tag one guy, from at least what I know. I'm going to have to go and look. If you can do two, then great, because then you would do Juju and Bud Dupree. It just makes sense. Um, and then they asked me, do you think Connor walks? Listen, James Conner is slowly building a Pro Bowl year. You know, if there was to be a Pro Bowl, he would be voted on it. Um, and he's another Steeler that gets a lot of criticism, like Juju, for the fact that James Conner gets hurt at times, but he also gets used a lot. And that's always been my issue. And don't get me wrong, I'm a Mike Tomlin guy from beginning to end, but I've questioned at times when he's used Connor. And like last year against the Chargers, we're beating them and it's the fourth quarter, and he decides to use Connor again, and Connor gets hurt. Okay. Um, we have running back depth, and this is where Randy Fichtner should be smart, and this is where Randy Fichtner gets criticized by me most. You have you have James Conner, Benny Snell, and you have McFarland that you drafted. Okay, Conner being the power back with speed, Snell being Snell being the smaller of the three as far as height goes, um, who can cut through holes and has speed, and then you have McFarland who's just explosive right off the scrimmage. Okay, why are we not utilizing all three of them? New Orleans showed you with Kamara and Ingram that it works, and that was only two. We have three. They only had two. Okay? Why are we not doing that? Just think about how more explosive the offense is. And you say, Jim, they added jet sweeps, and look what they do with Claypool. Listen, I get all that. I get that. I get that. But still, you have three running backs. And not only that, if you utilize the three correctly, Connor stays healthy, and Connor's been healthy pretty much all year. He's been banged up here and there, but he's gotten through it. And like I said, he's building a slow Pro Bowl year. His numbers are getting up there. But don't forget, this Steeler team ain't like the Steeler teams of old. It's not ground and pound as much as it used to be. It's dink and dunks and bubble screens and deep bombs, and that's what it's become because you have a quarterback that can throw passes like that. You have a receiving core who can catch those passes. So, but you got to get into that ground and pound game. And going into tomorrow's game, speaking of ground and pound, now the Cowboys might be without Zeke Elliott, which is going to be a huge blow for them in the running game. And you could say, well, they still have Cooper, they still have CeeDee Lamb, and they still have Michael Galladay. Okay, and I'll give you Cowboys fans that. But what I'm not going to give you is the fact that you got Garrett Gilbert, or whatever his name is, going out there tomorrow. Okay? And he was in the AAFL, and according to the people that watch that, he was a legend there. All right. Well, you're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you're playing the number one defense in the NFL, and I don't think you stand an utter chance. I'm sorry. You just do not stand a chance, especially with T.J. Watt on one side, Bud Dupree on the other coming at you. You do not stand a chance. That offensive line cannot stop them all game, and you're gonna have to if Elliott's out, you're gonna have to rely heavily on passing, and Hayden is going to be the Joe Hayden he always is, and he's going to step up, and Mink is going to play Minka's game, and Steve Nelson's he's going to play better this week. With Steve Nelson, he had a great year last year, and this year it's kind of declined a bit. And listen, I see it, Steeler fans see it, but you know what though? Guy still makes big plays. You can't take it away from him. He's built for this team. Steve Nelson is a Pittsburgh Steeler. He wasn't really that great in Kansas City. I think him coming to Pittsburgh has made him that much better of a player. Terrell Edmonds, he's gotta you gotta stop blowing coverages. You just gotta stop. You gotta just please stop. Just please. We can't tomorrow. We can't give up big passing plays. We got to decimate them any which way how, because now people are calling it a trap game because of the point spread. And I don't care about the point spread. Okay, I do not care. Earlier work I was joking around. Oh, this is a walk in the park game. But if you really want me to be serious about it, you take this game just as serious as you do any other game you've played this year. Any other game, okay? Because you just do. You have to. Listen, the Steelers aren't looking past the Cowboys onto the next game. You never look past the team you're playing and onto the next one. You play week to week. So you worry about the team you're playing this week. And Ben's going to be prepared. The offense is going to be prepared. I think this is a game where Washington's going to get utilized more. People are saying he's kind of being phased out. He's become like the Ryan Switzer of the team now, where he's the fifth option. Because Deontay had a big game last week. Juju had a big game. You have Claypool. Ebron emerges. And so he's kind of become the fifth guy. But he's not a fifth wide receiver though. He's a third. To me he's wide receiver number 3. And the only reason why he gets moved to fifth is because of Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron, for those who don't know, he's a tight end, but he runs routes like a wide receiver. He can catch like a wide receiver and he can block like a tight end. He's that hybrid tight end that a lot of teams clamor for in this league. Like a Kittle, Evan Ingram on the Giants is another one. So that's where Washington kind of gets casted off to the side, and then there was reports written that they should let him go at the end of the year. What has he really done? Dallas is going to try to double team either Juju, Deontay, or Claypool. They're not going to be able to cover all three of them and double team them. So it's going to give James Washington a lot more chances of getting the ball. And somebody said to me, well, it's because I don't think Ben trusts him. Ben trusts all his receivers. Ben tries to build up all his receivers. For those who say he's a horrible team leader, you don't know anything. And if you want to believe the clown in Tampa, by all means, go ahead. But Ben has improved as a team leader. I'm not going to say he's always the best team leader, because he wasn't at times, and I'll agree to that extent. But listen, at the end of the day, the guy's trying to build up. He's sitting with his receivers, and he's helping them out, and he's showing things on the tablet, and so he's coaching them up on the sideline. Washington, I think, has a decent game tomorrow. If you want me to predict the stat line, I go 5 for 65, has a touchdown. And I think all those reports all of a sudden is, Washington emerges as, a number 3 wide receiver. They can't let this kid go. And Washington had a decent year last year, and the reason why he did was because him and Rudolph went to the same college. They played together. They have that connection. Okay? And Rudolph, and I've given Rudolph flack, and I've said he's not the heir apparent to his team. But when Rudolph's been confident, and he's had Washington on the field with him, they were unstoppable. You could tell me they weren't, but go watch the games they played where Washington put up like 5 for 75, 2 touchdowns. Rudolph would throw him a bomb, and Washington somehow grabbed it. But again, Washington's going to be a part of this offense tomorrow. I don't care what you say. I don't care. You could be one of those guys who writes for whatever stupid little Facebook page, okay, and you could say we got to get rid of Washington. No, he's going to be part of this team. At least I hope so, for the near future. This is a young wide receiving core whose potential is only rising. Okay, that's what you want. I was talking to somebody earlier, and we were talking about J.J. Watt. And, they were telling me, J.J. wants out. I said, yeah, no duh, he wants out. I said, but what J.J. said, and I want to be part of a rebuild, he must be blunt, he's still part of a rebuild. Listen, it's as clear as day, it's part of a rebuild. Does he get released at the end of the year? Do they try to trade him? Listen, if you're going to try to trade him, you are going to get something in value back. J.J. Watt is a household name in Houston. He just is. The Watt name from here to Pittsburgh and throughout the NFL is a household name. And you could say, no, it's not. You don't know football well then. Again, though, J.J. is wasting his prime there, and the injuries have hurt him a bit. It doesn't hurt his legacy in football. It doesn't hurt any of that. But him just being in Houston, not being on a team that is going to sniff a Super Bowl anytime soon, I understand why he wants to leave. Now, I would kill to see him in Pittsburgh. Could it happen? It could. And if Pittsburgh were to trade the first-round draft pick for him, are you going to complain the same way some of you complained about trading it for Minkah? You probably are. Because getting J.J. Watt, and don't get me wrong, he's been in the league a few years. Yeah, he's been hurt. But getting him is like getting a first round pick. And the way the Steelers are playing, we're gonna have a towards the end of the first round draft pick anyway. So what's it gonna hurt? It didn't hurt when we traded it for Minka because we wound up giving the Dolphins the 18th pick. Now, I don't remember who the Dolphins picked there. I don't even think he's playing right now anyway. So if you want one of the best defensive players in the game, that's who you get. You get a J.J. Watt. I think in Pittsburgh he would stay healthy. He's been healthy this year for the most part. And speaking of defensive people who can't stay healthy, who haven't been able to stay healthy pretty much their whole career in the NFL, is Clowney. And he was with JJ in Houston, and he could barely stay healthy. You know, he goes to the Seahawks, couldn't really stay healthy there. He wanted a big deal in Seattle. He couldn't get that, so he got a 1-year, $12 million deal with Tennessee, and now he's out with a meniscus issue, pretty much. So again, he could never stay healthy, and it's a shame because Clowney is another guy. He's very fearful on a defensive line. He's got that talent. It's just raw talent that he has. And there was another injury somewhere in a couple of games that might hurt teams other than Zeke. Ty Hilton for the Colts against the Ravens is questionable. That hurts that offense a bit. And then, the Ravens have injuries, and some of them are on the COVID list. Now, I don't know if any of them have been activated from it. I didn't get a chance to see that. If they are, great. They got over it. But again, is it a risk you want to take to let them play? Are they truly over? Because there's been a lot of false positives in the NFL, just like any other sport. There's been a lot of false negatives that led to positives too. And with this whole COVID thing, it's very iffy, and you really got to take it seriously. Because now it's spreading again, and in football it's spreading. The Chiefs had to put Chris Jones on the COVID list. Again, the Steelers had a staff member. Luckily, luckily our players weren't there when this all happened. They'd already left to go to Dallas. So I don't know if they're going to announce who it is, and really, I don't think you have to. I don't think it really matters. And I think honestly, I think you should even keep some. I think you should keep the players secretive too. And you're going to say, well, why? Because some of these guys deserve to have their privacy. And I get being in the spotlight, you get literally no privacy, but some things should just, be kept private and within house. Um, it's just my opinion on it, and that's where I stand on it. Um, like I said earlier, there's a lot of good games this weekend coming up. The Sunday night game is definitely one everybody's going to tune into. Nobody has ever really swept Tom Brady in a head-to-head series in football before. Could Drew Brees be the one to do it? Well, they get Michael Thomas back. But again, that Tampa defense, Todd Bowles has him playing on a whole nother level. And it boggles my mind because Todd Bowles was the Jets head coach, and the defense was subpar at best. Maybe because a lot of the pieces they drafted just couldn't, hold up, on the Jets, and then they go off and they become better players somewhere else. Maybe it was just the Jets system at the time. I don't know. But I'll give Tampa the credit on the defensive side. It's also going to be interesting to see the body language on the sideline with Arians and Brown. Again, Arians has reiterated if he's not going to be a team player, that he's cut from the team. Again, I'm going to say it. I don't, with the sexual assault thing going on, I really don't think he should have ever been reinstated. I think Tom Brady played the Tom Brady card and got him reinstated somehow. I think the suspension should have been all year. But again, I don't work for the rules committee. I don't work for the disciplinary committee. Maybe I should, because I would have told him, Chad, you ain't playing the whole year. You got to go handle your legal nonsense. And he could do all the press conferences he wants about how he's just here to be a better teammate. And you could put on the smoke and mirror show, Antonio, but this guy ain't buying it. Because I know how you really are. Your prima donna bullshit will come out eventually. Because it always does. Because the minute you don't get a ball thrown to you, you're going to whine and cry like a 2-year-old on the sideline. You're going to whine and cry like that kid at Walmart whose daddy won't buy him a stupid little remote control car, or whatever it is that you want. That's what you're going to do because that's what you're good at. Okay? And again, I don't take away the man's talent, but Antonio Brown is not a team player. He's a me player. He was in Pittsburgh. And speaking of that, they interviewed, and this I think was from last season, and this finally came out. Ryan Shazier had a lot to say about Antonio Brown. And even he said that Antonio Brown is about Antonio Brown. So what does Antonio Brown do? He blocks him, because that's what an adult does. Instead of confronting the fact that people are calling you out on your nonsense, you just go and block them because you can't handle the truth. Okay? Because you can't handle the truth. And a lot of us can't. Listen, I understand it. You got to be a bigger man to understand when people are coming at you. It's not to hurt you, it's to help you, it's to get you to see what your actions have created. You don't want to see it, though. You don't. You could say now that you see it, so then why don't you go to Ryan Shazier and say, hey, listen, you know what? I appreciate what you said. I needed to be called out on that. I needed to be called out on this. You know what, Mike Tomlin? Thank you for putting up with my BS. You know what? I apologize to you. You know what? Because he did that BS apology tour, and you really think I bought that? I didn't buy that for a damn second. Because if you meant it, you wouldn't have done it on radio shows. You would have showed up to Pittsburgh like a man with hat in hand and met with Ben face to face. You would have met with Mike Tomlin face to face. You would have met with the Rooneys face to face. You would have met with Kevin Colbert face to face. And you would have did it face to face without the media attention. Okay? And yeah, it would have came out anyway because somebody would have seen him show up at, at the facility, and it would have been aired out anyway. That I would have believed you for. Not going on 105.1 to promote your shitty rap song and do your little apology tour, or go on Hot 97. Yeah, business is booming. It ain't booming because that album it's. Listen, I rap better than you, Antonio. Okay, I do. I rap better than you, and I don't even rap. That's just it. And then not only that, Antonio Brown's living with Tom Brady. Again, that's going to be one. I'd love to see that reality show. That would just be amazing to see. Because apparently that was one of the conditions that was involved in getting him to Tampa, was that he had to live with Tom Brady. I can only imagine what Giselle thinks. You're going to let that guy around your kids, knowing the way he acted in all those videos? Come on, man. Come on. That's just pitiful. But it's going to be interesting to see, because now apparently that Chris Godwin might be back this week too for them. So Antonio's really going to be the fifth man out on this one. It's going to be interesting because I know he's going to look dejected when a ball don't go his way. And we'll have to wait and see. Everyone's tuning into that game. That game will probably have the highest rating of any game this week because just of that factor. Because we will all watch. I know I'll be one to watch, and I know everybody else is going to watch. And the whole world's going to talk, and the whole world's going to see it. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. And then, like on the baseball side of it, with this whole, the whole Mets sale thing. Again, I said it the other day. Congratulations to the Mets. You have a real owner now that will actually spend money. Again, though, it's not going to be right away. But then the reports that Steve Cohen fired Brodie Van Wagenen. I don't think that's how it really went down. Because it was already reported that he walked out. So how did somebody get fired if they agreed to leave? And the reason why Brodie Van Wagenen left is because he was brought in by the Wilpons. He was buddies with the Wilpons, so the Wilpons brought him in, and now the Wilpons are gone. So Brodie Van Wagenen and half the front office, who were all Wilpon buddies, they all left with him. And if you didn't expect it to happen, you're a fool. Because now the Mets can go out and they can get a real GM. The Mets can go out and they can make the moves they got to make. Listen, if you guys really expect that they're going to get every free agent on the planet, you're not. If you guys can get George Springer from Houston, great. But then what are you doing with Conforto, and what are you doing with all your other outfielders? What are you doing with J.D. Davis? You're going to move them? What are you going to do? Again, all the Lindor talk. The Mets are a landing spot. The Yankees. I heard the Padres possibly. But why would the Padres trade for him? You have Tatis there. Why are you trading? Why are you going to trade for Lindor? You have a shortstop. You don't need him. There's a couple other teams. I forget who, but it's going to be interesting to see where Lindor winds up. I think it really comes down to the Yankees, Mets, and I honestly it's going to come down to who has the better trade proposal. And this is where Cashman and whoever the Mets GM is going to be, unless it's going to be Alderson that brokers the deal, and if I'm Steve Cohen, I let Sandy Alderson broker this deal. I just do. If I'm Cashman, I go to Hal Steinbrenner. Listen, this is what we got to give up. This is what we got to do. This is what we're going to have to spend. We're going to have to give him an extension. This is what he wants. This is what we're going to give him. I know you don't want to go over the luxury tax. I know you want to keep the payroll in line, but if you want a championship now, this is what you got to do. You're going to have to break a few eggs to get what you want. That's it. You're going to have to do it. If I'm Cashman, I'm doing it. You know, you just have to, because Yankee fans have been clamoring for a World Series now for 11 years. We have a team that's built now. We have a pitching staff that's built to pitch to win now. This is the window. Because again, we have Garrett Cole for the next 9 years, but he ain't getting any younger. Judge ain't getting younger. Severino ain't getting younger. Something's got to give here. Cashman's got to make the deal. Just like on the Mets side of it, Cohen, Alderson, whoever the GM's going to be, they got to make the deal. You know, Lindor is going to be like Trevor Bauer. He's going to be one of the most coveted free agents that people are going to look at, and they're going to, you know, even though Lindor is not a free agent, and he's just getting traded, he's still, in his mindset, he's going into this season, whoever he plays for, in his mind, he's already a free agent. Because if he gets traded and there's no extension worked out before that trade happens, expect him to be a free agent. Expect him to be a free agent. Whether he has a good year or a crappy year, he's going to expect his value. If he has a shitty season, his value is lowered. If he has a phenomenal season, sky's the limit to what he can get. Listen, again, I'm not going to say he's getting Trout money. He's not getting Trout money. But he's going to get paid. Just like Trevor Bauer is going to get paid. Just like JT Realmuto, I'm sorry, is not getting his $200 million. Everywhere I've read, it's 5 years, $125 million. If you're paying that man $200 million, you're out of your mind. You're overpaying by $75 million for a guy who turns 30. Okay, 5 years, 125 is good enough. You know, all the reports I read, you know, about LeMahieu, everything I read is to Toronto for 4 years and like $87 million. Again, that's a free agent that needs to be signed by Cashman. As soon as he rejects the qualifying offer, there already needs to be a deal on the table for DJ to sign. Because the minute another team finds out that the Yankees don't have an offer, they're going to slide right in and offer him the deal of a lifetime, and DJ's going to leave. He's going to walk. And Cashman's going to regret it, and we're all going to knock him for it. Me included, I'm going to knock him for it. I will friggin' tear him down any which way possible. Okay? It's just a deal you got to get done. Cashman, get on the ball. Get him signed. That's it. And on the same thing with the Mets. You know, you're going to offer Stroman, you know, Stroman's going to, you know, decline whatever offer you give him. But you don't let him walk, because another team's going to pay him. So if I'm Cohen and Alderson, that's another arm you need. Because if you really think you're getting through the season with Syndergaard, DeGrom, Steve Matz, and Michael Wacha, you're not. You're not getting through it. You need your starting three would be DeGrom, Syndergaard, and it would be Stroman. That's your three. Because Matz has been inconsistent. That I would actually think about even putting Matz in the bullpen. If the Mets somehow were lucky enough to get Trevor Bauer and keep Stroman, that's a phenomenal four-man rotation in itself. And then you would be fine with Matz as the fifth, you know, or if you can get Bauer and Morton, then yeah, you're putting Matz in the bullpen. I think Matz is more suited for the bullpen. Anyway, I just don't think he can handle the starting role. And there's been Met games I've been to where he's looked good, and I've been to Met games where he's gotten bombed and booed right off the mound. So, That's just something, the Mets and Yankees got to make pivotal moves this year. Both fan bases are clamoring for a World Series at this point. You gotta make a move to get it done. I don't care what you got to get. I don't at this point. I don't care what you got to do to get Lindor. I don't care what you got to do to get DJ signed. As far as the Yankee side of it, you got to get those. You got to get those deals done. If it involves somehow having to trade Gio Urshela and moving people around the infield, I'd hate to do it. But if Gio and a guy like Frazier are going to be the kickers in the deal to get Lindor, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And the Mets brass has got to think the same way. If there's a piece or two they really don't want to give up, but it's going to get you one of the best shortstops in the game, got to do it. And it's just like any other team. Like if on a hypothetical, let's say they went to trying to think of a team that's got pieces that you wouldn't give up, but you would if you had to. Like if the Dodgers made a play for him, but the Dodgers want, let's say, Justin Turner, that Jose Urias guy, and one of your catchers, Austin Barnes, let's say. If that's his name, Austin Barnes. Or even Will Smith for that matter. And you got to take on that money. If you're a Dodger fan that wouldn't give up Justin Turner for Lindor, you're out of your mind. I'd do it tenfold. Uh, but, I don't know what's going to happen as far as it. I know there's teams in play for him. There hasn't been any rumblings yet of who's talked to him, what's been proposed yet. That you're going to hear in the next coming few weeks to few months. Probably more towards the off-season meetings, which I think start like late December, early January. Don't expect the deal to be done by then. Probably be done closer towards the beginning of spring training, as most deals like that with big trade baits like that come into play. I've been surprised before where you've had deals done as early as like yesterday. So we'll wait and see what happens. But I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna watch the Clemson Notre Dame game. Try to do a video after the gym tomorrow. Probably go over my picks for who I pick to win the games tomorrow. Obviously, giveaways. I'm gonna pick Pittsburgh. Obviously. Till then, stay safe. Check out the videos. Subscribe. Again, any questions? You know where to hit me up at. Till then, stay safe. And as always, peace.